A very, very good morning to all of you, and welcome to the second class of deductions from gross total income. Whereby, in the previous class, we covered about what actually deductions are, what is the difference between deductions and exemptions, what type of deductions are allowed from the gross total income, and what are the restrictions when we come to taking deductions, what are the things which we need to remember while claiming such deductions. And then we started in understanding the categories of deductions, which is deductions in relation to certain payments, certain incomes, and other category. So last class when we started with deductions for certain payments. That is, if you as an assessee are making those payments or investment, then you will get the deduction, condition based, quantum based, etc. etc. So we started with 80C, then we did 80CCC, 80CCD, we did your ATD. So up till now, if anyone has any doubt, please feel free to ask. APC may please remember the lock-in periods also. The question can come from that. Settle in and then we can start the today's topic. कोई भी doubt है, is it clear, not clear? Do let me know. Deductions are very important also and easy to remember also. And I hope everyone is preparing the chart which we started at the beginning. Good morning, everyone. Okay. Okay, Swati, I'll let you know about that. ATCCH Srinivasan, I'm doing it today. We'll start with that only, don't worry. Partha Sathi, ATCCD subsection 2 does not say anyway public sector employees. They says government employees or state government employees. Then the reduction is based on your 14% of salary or contribution, whichever is lower. And if we talk about your other than government employees, then the reduction is about 10%. Yeah, Hardik. Guys, please specify what is the query. Repayment of housing loan, what did you not understand? Any specific thing or in general? 80CCC includes only approved annuity plan of LIC, correct? Only approved plans, pension plans of LIC. Otherwise, there is no other pension plans covered under 80CCC. Good morning, Smita. 80CCD last paragraph. One second. Are you talking about this box or deemed income wala? So, guys, in this specifically last paragraph is not related to deduction. It is basically related to last paragraph in NPS, 80CCD, deemed income is specifically related to how the taxability of income happens when you're withdrawing something from your NPS. So NPS, guys, as you know, you have to contribute certain years and then after your retirement age, you get certain amount as pension until the death of the assessee or death of the spouse of the assessee. Okay. So now the question is, how does the taxability happens of the pension? Obviously, it is taxable. But suppose I want to close the account. I don't want to get the pension. I want to close the it's my money. I want to get it back. Correct. I don't want pension. It is some because of some of the emergency. I want the money. So I put an application for closure of the account. Now, on the closure of the account, all the money which is there would be given back to me, correct? So from that money, 60% guys would be exempt and 40% would be taxable. So suppose if the fund has a total contribution of 10 lakhs, so 4 lakh would be taxable, 6 lakhs would be exempt. Now suppose I don't want to close the account. I out of 10 lakh, I only want say 5 lakh rupees. So I can withdraw 5 lakh rupees, but since it's a case of partial withdrawal, up to 25% of the total amount would not be taxable. So here in this case, 2,50,000 would not be taxable. 2,50,000 would be taxable. So this is about your deemed income concept. Okay. Any other doubt? Hardik, repayment of housing loan में simple सा है. Housing loan repayment has two types of part. Basically, EMI has two parts. One is principal and one is interest. Interest goes for deduction under section 24B for interest on housing loan. ठीक है, when you compute income from house property, the repayment of the principal part goes for deduction under section 80C. But remember, you should have actually paid that principal payment, then only you'll get it. And the loan should be from banks or financial institutions, etc. Along with that, you get the deduction for registration and stamp duty fees also. But remember, you don't have to sell that house for a period of 5 years from the end of the financial year in which the possession was given to you. Okay? Chalo, great. See, Nancy, first you have to compute your taxable income. Uske baad, then you have to apply the tax. If it is below the basic exemption limit, obviously no tax would be applicable. Perfect. So now let's start with today's topic, which is 80CCC-H. What a better topic to start with. One second. 80CCC-H, 80CCH. Now, this is a very new topic which has been introduced. The scheme, this deduction is about a scheme which is introduced called Agniveer scheme or Agnipath scheme for Agniveers. Now, what is this actually? I'll give you a brief before going about the deduction. What happens is that a person between an age of 17 and a half to an age of 21 years, 17 years, 6 months to an age of 21 years can be recruited for the post of national security, as in for the post of armies, etc. Because generally army में क्या होता है या generally आपका security forces में what happens is that the post start from captain, major and all that. So now they have introduced one more post below all those commissionerate ranks, which is Agniveer. Okay, so the Agniveer mein it's an opportunity also for you to serve the nation and also a way of having a security from a very job security or money security from a very early age. So that Agniveer post is now only for the people between 17 and a half years to 21 years. They can get recruited and they would be recruited only for 4 years, only for 4 years. Now, is 4 years mein, what will happen is that they will get a certain salary as per the decided amount. Part of that, 30% of it automatically will go to a corpus called Agniveer corpus. Okay. So suppose the pay is decided at 20,000. So 30% of that, that is 6,000, would automatically go into a corpus called Agniveer corpus. यानी corpus मतलब एक fund में चला गया. So you'll get 14,000 rupees. And similarly, 6,000 government will also make a matching contribution. ठीक है. So क्या हो रहा है? एक contribution as an Agniveer you are making and one contribution, the same contribution the government is making. Okay. अब इस Agniveer scheme में obviously there are a lot of benefits along with this small basic pay. You are getting recruitment at a very initial stage. You are getting a chance, obviously, which is above all the monetary things to serve the nation. Then, as an Agniveer, you will get insurance coverage from day one. You will get one-time gracious payment. Then, this particular contribution, which sort of fund, which is getting accumulated for 4 years. Then, even after 4 years, now if you want to serve the nation, then 25% of them get recruited. So this is about the scheme. Now, what about the deductions, ma'am? How the deductions are happening here? So the deductions happens again in two subsections, ATCCH subsection 1 and ATCCH subsection 2. तो ये किसको मिलेगा deduction? Agniveers को. Those who have recruited under the scheme. So subsection 1 में guys, whatever contribution as an agreed I have done, it will go under subsection 1. So from this 20,000 per month, the 6,000 which is getting deducted. So this 6,000 into 12 would go as a deduction under ATCCH subsection 1. ATCCH subsection 1. What about ATCCH subsection 2? This is for the government contribution. The contribution which government is making in my name in that corpus fund. So that would come here. That contribution would come here. So mind you guys, government contribution is allowed for all the people irrespective of the scheme. This is allowed for 115 BAC also and your normal provisions also. But subsection 1 is not allowed to 115 BAC. But this specifically subsection 2 is allowed for 115 BAC also. And I hope you know that whatever contribution the government is making on my name as an Agniveer first would become part of my salary, because obviously they are making, as a perquisite, they are making a contribution in my name, so it's my salary. And then that same contribution would be deductible under ATCCH subsection 2. Got it? सो जो सैलरी का पार्ट क्रिएट होगा उतना एटीसीसीएच सबसेक्शन 2 में चला जाएगा. एंड वॉट एवर कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन विच आई एम मेकिंग इज एलिजिबल फॉर सबसेक्शन 1. ठीक है. एंड अल्टीमेटली जब आफ्टर 4 years दिस फंड वुड बी created and you'll have a good amount of 5-6 lakhs, so you can take that amount out and it will not be taxable. Got it? So this is all about your ATCCH. Next section which we'll begin now is your AT-double-D. But before going to AT-double-D, I want you to take to another section which is AT-U. इसमें कोई guys doubt है तो हम आगे बढ़े. Guys, if everyone has a problem on the screen. Is it clearly visible? स्वाति, that pension is obviously वो जो government वाला pension है वो salary में ही आएगा if you're a salaried employee. Where in NPS में you and your employer both are contributing, that pension which comes after an age would be your salary pension only. But if as a self-employed person I'm contributing and the pension which I'm getting, that would be your other sources pension. Sushil, everyone is able to see the see the screen clearly. Please try to exit it and log in again. So, Avinash has a question. If the employer and employee both are paying insurance premium for employees, Will it be a deduction in the hands of individual payer for premium? Obviously not. Employer is making payment for my insurance coverage under the group health insurance scheme. He will get a deduction under section 36, but I will not get a deduction for it because I have not paid to it. So why would I get a deduction here? So these deductions which we are discussing are for certain payments only. Correct? So this would be allowed as deduction to the employer only for the premium which he's paying. Nagarju, I've already made it chat wise. Yes, certain amount of interest also gets credited in this type of fund. Primarily, see, guys, this is for them to have a fund allocated at an early stage so that later when they go to pursue different careers, they have an income with them because 17 and a half to 21 or 23 years of an age is an age where most of the people are not earning, they are just littering their life around. And for them, as an initiative, the scheme was introduced. Okay, so now let's move on to the next part. You should not say it as PF, must say it as a corporate fund. Ma'am is whole contribution by employer and company limited. Employer नहीं देगा ना यहाँ पे contribution आपको, government would only be making the contribution, right? And exempted word नहीं use करना guys. Deductible. Deductible. Next section, guys, is 80 deduction in respect of maintenance, including medical treatment of a dependent disabled. Before I proceed to 80 DD, let me take you through one section, which is 80U. Guys, before doing this section, a lot of you guys are at a tender age and are really sweet. This section talks about disability, okay? And a lot of people, a lot of students, they say, "Ma'am, please don't use the word disability, use the word special able." I get that feeling, and I totally honor what those people are going through. But since the section used the word disability, so I will stick to that, okay? So now, section 80U talks about if a person is disabled or handicapped, if a person, as in the assessee himself, so naturally this is only allowed to individual, assessee himself is disabled or handicapped, then he will get a flat reduction under section 80U of 75,000. Matlab, irrespective of whatever expenditure is happening, whatever income you have, you can claim deduction as 75,000 if the assessee is himself is disabled. Okay. But if he's severely disabled means more than 80% of his body is disabled, then this deduction is 1,25,000. So flat deduction without condition, a person can claim it. Got it? Simple, finish. Section में और कुछ नहीं है. Now coming to the section which is dependent disabled under section 80 D. Let's read the heading again. Deduction in respect of maintenance, including medical treatment of a dependent disabled. Dependent disabled, that means in this case, the assessee is not disabled. The assessee, that is individual or HF, is not disabled. Someone who is dependent on them, that person is disabled. So DD a lot of people remember it like dependent disabled. So section 80 DD mein guys, who is disabled? Not the individual or HF, only the person who is dependent on him, that person is disabled. So if I start about from making that table, who will get this deduction? Eligible assessee in this case would be a resident individual or HUF. For what he will get the deduction? If he is maintaining or treating a person who is fully dependent on him. Who's fully dependent on him. Suppose Mr. X is an individual whose, say, brother, Mr. J, is disabled and he's fully dependent on him. On whom? On Mr. X. So who will claim the deduction here? Mr. X would claim a deduction. For what type of expenditure he's or payment he's claiming a reduction? If he's maintaining Mr. J, maintaining matlab unka nursing, unka rehabilitation, all those things which he's taking care of, and if any medical treatment is required, he's taking care of. If any insurance policy is taken up, उन सब चीजों के लिए if he's taking care of, Mr. X will get the reduction. What is the reduction? The reduction is irrespective of the expenditure. Irrespective of the expenditure, the reduction would be claimed by Mr. A. चाहे मैं 1,000 rupees spend करूं या 2 lakh rupees spend करूं, the reduction is here again flat 75,000 in case of normal disability, or in case of severe disability 1,25,000. Again, 80% or more of the disability 1,25,000. In case of normal disability 75,000. Again and again, I'm saying irrespective of expenditure. I spend 10,000 rupees, I spend 1 lakh rupees, irrespective of it, the deduction can be claimed. Now, as a resident individual, it is my duty to obtain a certificate of disability from any government hospital ka CMO. CMO क्या होता है? Chief Medical Officer, or any MD of neurologist, or in case of child, any MD, pediatrician who has an MD degree. Once I have to obtain a certificate of disability and I have to keep it in records that if in case my return is open for assessment, that disability certificate can help out. Okay. Again and again, I'm saying you spend whatever you spend, but the deduction is allowed at a flat rate. If you're maintaining that person, he's dependent on you, the deduction is allowed on flat rate. But now you have to remember two things about Mr. J, that who can be a dependent relative. Who can be a dependent relative? Matlab, I can claim a deduction for a dependent relative if the dependent relative is spouse, brother, sister, children, and mother and father. So guys, if you see ATC में where we were seeing they were only spouse and children cover, dependent or not. Then when we move to 80D, payment to cover insurance, health insurance of spouse, dependent children and parents were there. But now when I'm coming to 80DD, there are spouse, dependent brother, sister, dependent children, dependent mother, father are covered here. So you have to clearly distinguish that who is covered and who is not covered. Why? Because the question can come to you that a person is spending insurance for a dependent brother. So definitely insurance amount for a dependent brother is not covered under 80D. But if that brother is dependent and disabled, then a necessity can claim a deduction under 80DD. Okay, so that type of clarity has to be there, and then that will only come when you will understand the demarcation between sections. Okay, कि वो section कहाँ पे किसको draw कर रहे हैं, that particular section is drawing whom. And also one thing, the relative can be this person. Also very, very important, why I did ATU before this, that Mr. J in his return should not be claiming 80U का deduction. ऐसा ना हो that dependent disabled is also claiming 80U and the person who's maintaining the dependent disabled is claiming 80DD. No, either of one thing if happens. Either he can claim 80U or you can claim 80DD, not both the things. That's why I covered 80U before. HUF के लिए dependent relative can be any member. So if HU is claiming an exemption for 80DD, then he is wholly maintaining any member. you can put on medical insurance करा लिया आपने उनका कि कल को something happens to the SSC, then certain amount can be recovered from the insurance and that can take care of the dependent disabled. Any type of nursing, any type of medical treatment, if that person is dependent on you only and you are maintaining and treating them, you are allowed such deduction. But यहाँ पे one concept was introduced from assessment year 23-24 is a concept that, okay, you are getting their insurances done so that some annuity can come to you, can not come to you, can come to the dependent disabled. So Mr. X ने क्या किया? He got an annuity insurance for him. So what he did, Mr. X is paying monthly premium for the insurance that if suppose Mr. X dies, that is on death of SSC, or on SSC attaining 60 years of age and stopping the premium, because one age would come where X would also get old and he would not be able to contribute enough. So if on the death of the SSC or on at him attaining 60 years of age, the dependent disabled might get any annuities. So iska bhi insurance, they can get it, done insurance or any lump sum, they can get the insurance of this done. Who? The SSC can get its insurance done. Now the question comes कि अगर amount मिलेगा, what would be the taxability of it? If any amount comes on insurance, what would be the taxability of it? Which is covered here as deemed income. I'll show you as a flow chart and then you can write it down. Okay. अब वो इंश्योरेंस का पैसा मिला, आपने इंश्योरेंस किसके लिए कराया था? यू हैड गॉट द इंश्योरेंस डन फॉर द डिपेंडेंट डिसेबल्ड. हु गॉट द इंश्योरेंस डन? द एसएससी गॉट द इंश्योरेंस डन. Who is paying the premium for such insurance? The SSC is paying the premium for such insurance. Now, two things can happen. That either dependent dies first or, sorry to again, either dependent dies first or the SSC dies first, correct? Now to Mr. J in case dies first or Mr. X, who's the person SSC is maintaining the dependent disabled dies first. Now if the dependent dies first, and who will get the money? Then SSC will get the money on death of dependent. Correct? Obviously, he has got an annuity plan for him or a lump sum plan for him. So the money which the SSC gets on the death of dependent would be fully taxable. Got it? But if suppose SSC dies, so who will get the money? Obviously, dependent gets the money. If dependent gets the money on the death of the SSC, that is not taxable. That is not taxable. But situation B can be, which I told you, that koi bhi nahi mara. Neither X died nor J died, but now X has become 60 years of age. That is, SSC became 60 years of age. And now he's no more having all those income and now he want the money to come back from insurance. Correct. So if the SSC attains 60 years of age and now the premium paying has stopped. Now the premium has stopped, then whatever the amount the dependent will get, whatever amount the dependent would get would not be taxable, would not be taxable. So guys, you have to understand basically insurance क्यों कराया, that in case some mishappening happens, the dependent life is secured by a certain amount or secured by certain annuities. Okay? But if the mishappening does not happen and then at a particular age SSC would also get old, SSC's income would also be disrupted, SSC would also go for retirement. So in that case, they have taken insurance for maximum at the age of 60 years the premium dega. If the premium continues after 60 years of age, that is fine. But if the premium stopped at the age of 60 years and now the dependent is getting the lump sum or the annuity, whatever he is getting, would not be taxable. So yes, you can say dependent for whatever in these two situations if he'll get, it will not be taxable. But if assessee gets anything on the death of the dependent, that would be taxable. Okay, got it? This is a deemed income concept which was introduced from assessment year 23-24. 80DD में guys किसी को कोई doubt? If you want to note this table or take a screenshot, please. Correct, Manish. ATCCH is only available till release Agniveer. Smita, until and unless I will specifically say that this scheme is allowed for 115 BAC, all the deductions are not allowed for 115 BAC. This we decided at the beginning of the class the day before that in general, no deductions are allowed for the 115 BAC scheme. But if I specifically say, then only it would be allowed. तो अभी तक हमने खाली दो सिचुएशन पढ़े where ATCCH subsection 2 and ATCCD subsection 2 both are allowed to 115 BSc. Path, it is simple. See, there are two things. Dependent disability के लिए there are two flat things. One is ATU and one is ATDD. ATU में the assessee himself is disabled. ATDD में the assessee is maintaining a person who is disabled. Okay. So if the assessee is maintaining a person who is disabled, he can claim a flat, दोनों में flat deduction है of 75,000 or 1,25,000 as the case may be. But only one deduction can be claimed by either of the person. For example, I give an example where Mr. J, who's a brother of Mr. X, that person is dependent disabled. So if Mr. J claims ATU in his return, then Mr. X cannot claim who's maintaining the dependent disabled ATDD. To claim ATDD, Mr. X has to ensure that Mr. J is not claiming ATU. Naturally, for a single person disability, both the assessees cannot have the benefit of respective sections. Assurance नहीं, insurance specially. तो हो सकता है सी डिपेंडेंट डिसेबल पर्सन इज अंडर डिपेंडेंट डिसेबल की एज की बात नहीं हो रही असेसी की एज की बात हो रही है सेसी इज सी एन्युटीज एंड लमसम का क्या पॉइंट होता है फर्स्ट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस assessee has a responsibility of maintaining a person correct he wants to ensure that till the time he lives or till the time he retires a certain money is there for a person correct how can he ensure he will give the premiums every year that if something happens to me or if I attain an age of 60 years, then the money can go to dependent disabled. Okay. Now, if assessee attains the age of 60 years, obviously now he is 60 years old, he does not have that much money. Contribution stopped. Now, whatever money the dependent disabled will get as a pension or as a lump sum, that would not be taxable. That would not be taxable. 60 ईयर्स की एज तक अगर पेंशन उसका कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन स्टॉप हो जाता है एंड तब कोई मनी मिलता है दैट वुड नॉट बी टैक्सेबल पूजा यू हैव टू अल्टीमेटली सी कि पैसा किसको मिल रहा है दो ही लोगों को मिलेगा इधर डिपेंडेंट डिसेबल को और एसएससी को एसएससी को मिल रहा है तो टैक्सेबल है डिपेंडेंट डिसेबल को मिल रहा है on SSC's death, not taxable. SSC is alive and he has stopped paying the premium before or till the age he attains 60. It would not be taxable. ऐसा ना होना assessee is paying the premiums. He is 75 and still he is paying the premium and dependent disabled is getting the money. तब definitely be taxable. और generally ऐसा होगा नहीं because all these policies and laws are taken care as per the tax laws. प्रिंस मिलेगा यहाँ पे assessee को And वैसे any money or any lump sum which get you person gets on the death of the other person is not taxable in the hands of legal heirs or nominee. Okay. दो लोगों का रिलेशन सोचो ना, उसको इतना कॉम्प्लेक्स मत करो गाइस. 80D, 80DD and 80U. We have done. Anyone has any doubt? Okay. Now we move ahead to cover another section, which again is related to treatments. Let us discuss. Section now is ADB. Deduction in respect of medical treatment, again available only to the assessees who are not claiming one, who are not opting for, I should say, who are opting in for 115 BAC, they will not get. If they're opting out, only they will get then. 80 DDB, deduction in respect of medical treatment. किसको मिलेगा? Only resident individuals and HUF. 80D only again resident individual HUF, and 80DDB also on resident individuals and HF. Now guys, the question क्या है? Deduction in respect of medical treatment, मैम ये तो we heard under 80D also. Correct. अभी उसको थोड़ी देर let's keep it side and first let's understand DDB and then we'll make a comparison. Now किसको this particular section is allowed for resident individuals and HUF if they are getting treatment of self, spouse, children, parents, brother and sisters. So या तो treatment of certain specified diseases which are listed. I'll show you the list. उसके लिए if they are making a expenditure medical treatment के लिए, यहाँ पे they're not talking about disability. It can be any treatment which is needed like AIDS, etc. उसके लिए if they are getting the treatment done, उसका expenditure would be allowed as deduction. Either for self or for dependent relative. अब वो dependent relative में कौन है guys? Spouse, brother, sister, parents and children. ठीक है. So self or dependent relative and dependent relative में same, all spouse, brother, sister, parents and children. तो उनके medical expenditure के लिए if any amount is getting medical expenditure, basically medical treatment के लिए if an amount is getting spent, the deduction can be claimed. Now you will say कि ma'am what is the deduction? The deduction can be claimed on the basis of expenditure. अब यहाँ पे है expenditure or 40,000 whichever is expenditure or rupees 40,000 whichever is lower. So if the expenditure is 50,000, deduction would be 40,000. If the expenditure is 30,000, deduction would be 30,000. Simple. But if the treatment is done for a person who is senior citizen, इसका जो पेशेंट है वो सीनियर सिटीजन है, एसएससी सीनियर सिटीजन हो या ना हो, द पेशेंट इज सीनियर सिटीजन, then instead of 40,000 it would be 1 lakh. So expenditure or 1 lakh whichever is lower. Expenditure or 1 lakh whichever is lower. Now suppose यहाँ पे कहीं पे भी नहीं लिखा that the dependent person should have insurance or not. Nowhere it is written. Now suppose dependent person has insurance. Suppose Mr. X is the assessee, ठीक है? And he's treating for a specific disease for his father who is totally dependent on him. Of say Mr. A. Mr. A is the father. Now Mr. A already has an insurance going on for medical treatment. Guys, now very carefully, I'll be merging 80D and 80DDB. Please carefully listen. This is not there anywhere in the book, but this can come in practical questions. Careful. Mr. X is getting medical treatment of his father, Mr. A. Okay. Now, the insurance amount which Mr. X is paying for the medical premium, for the medical insurance, or I should say the premium amount which Mr. X pays for medical insurance of his father, he would claim as deduction under ATD. Correct? Guys, correct? Yes. Now suppose Mr. A got a treatment done, okay, and the treatment costed 3 lakhs. The cost of the treatment was 3 lakhs. Mr. A got a treatment for some specified disease. The cost was 3 lakhs. Now, obviously, the insurance coverage is there, but insurance coverage से पैसा खाली आया of 2,80,000. ठीक है? This 20,000 Mr. X has paid from his pocket as a son. Now, this 20,000 is eligible to be claimed under 80 DDB, treatment for medical or expenditure for medical treatment of dependent relative. Okay, so I can say an amount if insurance is there. What is the net amount which you have paid or borne from the pocket that would be eligible for deduction under 80 DDB, not 3 lakhs, because 3 lakhs में से 280 तो insurance से got covered, correct? So the amount which you're actually bearing, that would be allowed for 80 DDB. Now, second scenario can be, this is case 1. Now, second scenario can be, guys, case 2, where Mr. A does not have an insurance and he's a senior citizen. Mr. A does not have an insurance and he is a senior citizen. Mr. A मतलब father. Okay. अब suppose the treatment costed 3 lakh. अब क्या करें? Guys, 80 DDB says only up to 2 lakh, only up to 1 lakh I can claim. Correct. I'll claim 1 lakh under 80 DDB. Abhi still 2 lakhs are unclaimed for expenditure, but I can claim under 80D 50,000 at max for, remember, senior citizen having no insurance and getting treatment. Correct? Usme bhi 50,000 can I get? Yes, I can get. Yes, definitely I can get. So, if a person who is getting treatment is a senior citizen with no insurance, so first claim 80DTB for them, and still any is unclaimed, you can claim 80D also for them. I am not claiming same expenditure पे. यहाँ पे मैं same expenditure पे दोनों जगह claim नहीं कर रही हूँ. The amount of expenditure is 3 lakhs, out of which 1 lakh goes into 80DTB and 80D में 50,000. ऐसा नहीं है that, guys, if you're spending say 30,000, you are claiming in 80DTB also and 80D also. Same amount cannot be claimed twice, but out of a huge amount, the breakup can definitely be done to get optimum benefit. Correct? Ye, guys, बहुत clear. And if you understand this, that means now, up till now, you have understood all the deductions which we did. Try to connect. This is ultimately the point. एक बारी note it, understand it, कोई doubt है, please ask. Yes, so Navneet, you said specified disease case में पूछा था. Yes, ATDDB is not for all the treatment. It is for specified diseases like your neurological diseases like dementia, uh, your chorea, full immunity diseases like AIDS, chronic renal failure, thalassemia, hemophilia, ये सब है इसमें covered. Cancers, malignant cancers, all of that is covered इसमें. रोहन 50,000 क्योंकि पेरेंट्स के केस में 50,000 डिडक्शन होता है एंड पेरेंट्स के केस सीनियर सिटीजन के केस में देर आर टू स्लैब्स इंडिविजुअल का भी अगर है कोई तो 50,000 हो जाता है एंड पेरेंट्स इफ एनी तब भी 50,000 हो जाता है सो एट मैक्स 50,000 अगर वहां पे इफ एनी नो अदर अमाउंट इज देयर मैक्सिमम गाइस मोनिका ऐसा नहीं है फॉर एवरी वन यू विल गेट द डिडक्शन मैक्सिमम डिडक्शन विल गेट इज इतना इंडिपेंडेंट पेरेंट है तो 80 DDB नहीं मिलेगा डीडी जहां पे भी है डिपेंडेंट पॉइंट इज वेरी क्रिटिकल सो इंडिपेंडेंट होगा तो ओनली यू कैन क्लेम 50K ऑफ 80D पूजा इट वुड बी रॉन्ग टू से एसएससी कैन गेट डिडक्शन ऑफ बोथ सेक्शन उसका मतलब सी अगर कल को सिर्फ ट्रीटमेंट पे 30,000 हुआ है तो ऑब्वियसली यू विल क्लेम 80DD बिकॉज 80DD में यूर एन ऑप्शन टू क्लेम इंश्योरेंस अमाउंट सपोज यू हैव वन पेरेंट जिनका इंश्योरेंस है वन का नहीं है तो इट्स बेटर टू कीप दैट ब्रैकेट ओपन इट्स लाइक टोटल अमाउंट में से थोड़ा सा अमाउंट मैंने वहां क्लेम किया एंड थोड़ा सा अमाउंट यहाँ क्लेम किया ऐसा नहीं है कि सेम अमाउंट को दोनों जगह क्लेम किया निनाद यहाँ पे यू हैव टू रिमेम्बर सी 80DD इज फॉर डिसेबिलिटी it can be a mental disability or a physical disability or handicap visual impairment or any other things वहां पे it is for disability यहाँ पे we are talking about treatment for some specified disease and if that person is there in specified disease that treatment का खर्चे का क्या होगा 80DDB is expenditure or maximum amount whichever is lower 80DD is flat deduction amount डिपेंडेंट रिलेटिव नहीं है 80D में पार्ट डिपेंड फादर और 80D में बेसिकली इट्स लाइक सीनियर सिटीजन नॉट हैविंग एन इंश्योरेंस कैन क्लेम मेडिकल एक्सपेंडिचर का ट्रीटमेंट अप टू 50,000 बिकॉज जहां पे भी सीनियर सिटीजन वर्ड हो जाता है द एडिशनल 25,000 यू गेट Manish, difference between 80DD and 80DDB is 80DD में if I'm maintaining a person, maintaining का मतलब होता है if he's dependent on me for food, basic necessities and basic nursing, उसका rehabilitation का खर्चा if I'm putting up और nursing का खर्चा I'm taking up, that is disability and the person is disabled. Disability means that there is any visual problem, any medical problem in the sense impairment issue है कुछ it can be hearing problem it can be multiple disability it can be cerebral palsy it can be your development disorders blood related disorders is autism these are all disability so उनको take care करने के लिए person is needed 24/7 that type of maintenance if a person is doing that comes under 80DD whereas 80DDB does not means disability it means a person is dependent for whom you're getting a medical treatment done and medical treatment for the list of diseases which I told you if you are getting the treatment done अब treatment पे खर्चा होगा so that is allowed as deduction under 80DDB subject to 40,000 or 1 lakh whichever in case of senior citizen up to that amount you will get the expenditure but the question comes ki 80D is also there which is covering expenditure but that is covering expenditure for the people who are obviously either the individual spouse or parents who are senior citizen and who do not have insurance. Correct? And who do not have insurance. So first, if suppose the expenditure is of 3 lakh, let's claim, and the person who is getting treated is senior citizen. Let's claim 1 lakh rupees here. We also have an option to claim ATD में 50,000 if it's for parents. Correct? बस वही तो किया. Sharvan, is it clear? Sharvan, suppose यहाँ पे guys, Mr. A father नहीं होते, Mr. A would have been brother. Then I would have only be able to claim ATDDB. I would not have able to claim ATD for case 2. Make sense? Right. Now suppose second example लेती हूँ, case 3, where the cost of expenditure is say 1,20,000. ठीक है. अब 80 DDB में I can claim 1,20,000, 1 lakh only, senior citizen है naturally, and 80D में I can claim 20,000. If I have that bracket, if I have certain amount left in that bracket of 50,000, then only you can claim. ऐसा नहीं additional 50,000 मिल रहा है. वो वहां पे वो 50-50 का लिमिट है ही है. But this would be eligible for claiming. Got it, guys? Swati, correct. 80TD is about disabled person and 80DDB is for medical treatment of a specified disease. And the person might not be disabled or might be, does not matter. The person is dependent on you that you have to take care of. And 80DDB में self expenditure का भी खर्चा मिल जाता है, guys. Whereas 80DD is all about maintaining a second person who's disabled and dependent. स्टेप बाय स्टेप ब्रीथ करके करोगे, इजीली समझ आएगा. डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट. If a person, Monica, if a person is dependent, you guys, if a person is dependent and disabled and he also got treatment for a specified disease, correct? And if you're maintaining him, obviously you can claim 75 or 125 as the case may be, and 40,000 to an expenditure amount or 1 lakh as the case may be, correct? Definitely. ठीक है, चले आगे guys. Yes, no. ठीक है. I am assuming now is it it is clear. आराम से जब भी आए ये sections, make a demarcation what all these sections are saying. क्योंकि क्वेश्चन में कहीं पे भी नहीं लिखा होगा टेल अस द डिडक्शन अंडर 80DDB एंड 80D. दे विल गिव यू द फैक्ट्स, यू हैव टू डिसाइड व्हिच सेक्शन इज गेटिंग पुट. अब फ्रॉम the world of insurances, medical treatment, disability, now we move to interest on certain loans which are allowed as deduction. The list from 80E onwards, 80E wali list is now all about interest deduction, home loan, electric vehicle, education loan. So let's start with that. मिली इस केस में एक्सपेंडिचर ही 120 का है. 1 लाख मैंने क्लेम कर लिया तो 20,000 ओनली आई विल बी क्लेमिंग. नो, ब्रदर ट्रीटमेंट हो रहा है शरवण, नॉट अ सीनियर सिटीजन, एक्सपेंडिचर ऑफ 40,000 विच एवर इज लेस। एटीडी में वो जाएगा ही नहीं, बिकॉज एटीडी इज नॉट कवरिंग ब्रदर एट ऑल। जो आप लोगों ने समझा है ना गाइस, दिस थिंग डज नॉट इंडियन इज क्लियर टू अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल एट फाइनल स्टेज, बिकॉज रिलेटेबिलिटी इज अ बिग प्रॉब्लम विच इज मिसिंग। ठीक है, सो नाउ स्टार्ट विद 80E डिडक्शन। सो 80D वाला लिस्ट इज अबाउट मेडिकल disability treatment etc. 80D, 80DDB, 80DD, and again linked it with 80U. Now 80E वाला list is all about interest. So सबसे पहले interest which is allowed as deduction is on education loan. Education loan किसी ने भी लिया आफ्टर हायर एजुकेशन, आफ्टर हायर एजुकेशन किसी ने भी लिया, सपोज talking of individual. यहाँ पे HUF को deduction नहीं मिलेगा guys, only individual will get the deduction. Who will get the deduction? Individual will get the deduction. For what? For education loan. कौन सा education loan? The loan which is taken after higher education, after 12th. किसी के 12th के बाद लोन लिया, खुद के लिए लोन लेना है, लोन किसके लिए लेना है? Either the loan can be taken for self, spouse, children, or for any person for whom the assessee is the legal guardian. भाई के लिए लोन लिया, नॉट अलाउड। एजुकेशन लोन लिया, इंटरेस्ट नॉट अलाउड। मदर के लिए एजुकेशन लोन लिया, इंटरेस्ट नॉट अलाउड। ओनली सेल्फ, स्पाउस एंड चिल्ड्रन के लिए एजुकेशन लोन लिया, दैट वुड बी, उसका डिडक्शन वुड बी अलाउड। किसका डिडक्शन? द इंटरेस्ट का डिडक्शन। इंटरेस्ट ऑन एजुकेशन लोन का डिडक्शन वुड बी अलाउड। Which type of education? Any education which happens after 12, in or outside India. How this is different from tuition fee? Tuition fees was for a full-time course in India for maximum up to 2 children, and खाली tuition fees मिलता था. But यहाँ पे interest is on the loan which is taken for any education after higher education in or outside India. Even vocational courses are also covered here. ठीक है, नाउ द क्वेश्चन कम्स, लोन किसके लिए लिया? या तो खुद के लिए, स्पाउस के लिए, लीगल गार्डियन के लिए। डिपेंडेंटी फैक्टर कुछ नहीं है। ठीक है, नेचुरली दिस एजुकेशन लोन इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट वेरी कॉमन गाइस व्हेन एनीवन गोज अब्रॉड or anyone is going into IITs, IIMs, or doing MBA from any top business schools. Naturally they take such loans, and this is very common practice. ऐसा नहीं है कि because CA is done in a not a very high amount. If you don't take coaching, it can be done in a nominal amount of 15-20,000. But there are certain degree programs, there are certain post-grad programs specifically, which takes a lot of money, right? So उसके लिए people take education loan. ध्यान से सुनो guys, education loan they take generally either to go abroad, or if they are studying in India, for all the top B schools they take it. क्या होता है कि the loan has a moratorium period in general. You have to understand it why I'm telling you. From the education loan perspective, they have a moratorium period कि जब तक कोर्स चल रहा है, और till a certain time after completing the course, then only the EMI will start. Then only the proper EMI will start. Interest get accumulated in that period, but EMI only start after a certain period. After a certain period. So suppose I've taken loan today for my graduation, post-graduation, graduation is for 2 years. Generally, the EMI start after 2.5 years, yeah, once the job is there. Generally, the EMI starts then, because the loan given company also understand that is these loans are taken for education purpose, and the person would only be in a capacity to return once he start earning. Okay. So generally there is a moratorium period, and generally the EMI start after a certain period. So यहाँ पे interest कब से start होगा? When you are starting paying the EMI. EMI component में again repayment component होगा of the loan, principal amount, and there would be interest. So interest amount का deduction would be allowed for how many years? For 8, maximum 8 assessment years. जब से भी interest repayment start होता है, from that year plus 7 years, or you can say when the interest payments start from that 8 assessment years, you can claim the deduction for interest. You can claim the deduction for interest. There is no limit to what amount you can claim as interest deduction, but whatever is the interest paid for the maximum of 8 assessment year. अगर loan period 5 years है तो obviously 5 years तक you can claim. Loan period 10 years तक है तब भी maximum 8 assessment years का interest you can claim. Loan should be taken from bank, financial institutions and approved charitable trust. और किसी से लोन नहीं लेना कि ऐसे दिखाया कि फादर से लोन लिया एंड इंटरेस्ट दे रहे, नो. Only from these people the loan should be taken. Got it? You can note this down. एक बहुत easy सा question है illustration 11. Meanwhile, you can please go through it. Santosh, I did not get your question. How the train is running in India? Swati, good question. लोन लेके आपने ट्यूशन फीस पे किया. ट्यूशन फीस का डिडक्शन you will claim there. Interest का डिडक्शन you will claim here. But Swati, remember the loan should be taken for 80C के case में the tuition fees for children, not for self, number one. But 80E के case में self, spouse, children all are covered. ठीक है? Sorted? Clear? 80E में कोई doubt? Simple है guys. Interest is fully deductible. Correct. जितना भी है interest आप उतना claim कर सकते हो. Obviously it cannot be more than gross total income. It is fully deductible. No limit. अब क्या हुआ guys? Next interest is interest on home loan. Now, ATEE was a limited period section or a limited period benefit which was introduced. But why we are studying? Because loan to chal sakta hai. Let's understand. Deduction in respect of loan borrowed for a residential property by an individual. Again, this section only supports individual, resident or non-resident does not matter. Again, until specified, this section is again also not available to the people who are paying tax as per section 115 BAC. Now, the question is, what are, ma'am, interest on loan, ये तो हमने पहले भी पढ़ा है, section 24B में, how it is different from this? Let's understand. To understand 80EE and an upcoming section, which is 80EE, you have to understand this is a part of a government incentivizing people to take up or build up houses. टू बिल्ड अप हाउसेस, घर बनाओ. उन चीज को इंसेंटिवाइज करने के लिए दे गिव एन एडिशनल रिडक्शन ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. How this works, let's understand. First of all, to understand what is the reduction, let's understand what are the conditions for it. First of all, the maximum, I'll write it here, ऐसा ही कुछ बनाएंगे. The deduction which is allowed here is maximum is 50,000. But किसकी डिडक्शन मिलेगी? इंटरेस्ट की. फॉर व्हाट? ऑन द होम लोन. But or the housing loan, whatever you want to say. But the conditions here are a lot. First of all, it should be a residential house property. Second thing, the loan amount should be maximum 35 lakhs. The property should be of maximum value, that is, the house should be of the maximum value of 50 lakhs. Then there should be no other residential house held by individual. We should not own any other residential house on sanction loan, on लोन सैंक्शन बाद में ले सकते हैं, बट जब लोन सैंक्शन हो रहे हैं तब नो अदर रेजिडेंशियल हाउस. लोन शुड बी फ्रॉम बैंक, फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस और हाउसिंग फाइनेंस कंपनी, जैसे इंडिया बुल्स हाउसिंग फाइनेंस. ठीक है. एंड लास्ट एंड द इम्पोर्टेंट कंडीशन इज that the loan should be sanctioned between 1st April 2016 to 31st March 2017. The loan should be taken between this period. Sanctioning, disbursing, applications, तीनों में फर्क होता है guys. Loan को once you apply, there is a different time. Application, जब आप loan application देते हो, then they call it, process it, check it. First they sanction it. Sanction मतलब approval आ जाता है. And then they disburse it. The sanctioning should happen between the time period of April 16 to 2017. अब आप बोलोगे कि मैम why are we studying it? Because obviously the loan was sanctioned then and housing loans are for 20 years or so. So obviously the interest would be going. So what is your alert? Okay, when you have to apply 80EE, when the loan sanctioning period which is given to you is between April 16 to March 17. If the loan sanctioning period is before or after this period, you don't have to apply 80EE. Only then when you have to apply when the loan is sanctioned between this. All these conditions, first, all of them have to be fulfilled. Then an additional interest deduction would be allowed for 50,000. Why I'm saying additional interest deduction? Because you can claim 24B May the deduction already for interest. So agar suppose 24B में you are not able to claim fully, then you can claim interest here as max. Suppose a person is having a residential house property. ठीक है, अब the interest which he has paid on this 35 lakh का loan, say is 3 lakh rupees. ठीक है, हाउस प्रॉपर्टी आ गया. अब वो सेल्फ ऑक्यूपाइड में गए, सेल्फ ऑक्यूपाइड प्रॉपर्टी है, तो वो इंटरेस्ट मैक्सिमम कितना क्लेम कर सकते हैं वहां पे? ओनली 2 lakhs. करेक्ट. सो द रिमेनिंग a person can claim here is 50,000 under section 80EE. Only if the loan is taken between this period. पहले लोन लिए, बाद में लोन लिए, 80EE is not applicable. Also, see guys, I told you this scheme is for basically this deduction is for the motive for the government to make sure that people have a house, correct? So that they can feel that, whatever interest deduction whatever interest I'm paying, I'll get an additional deduction of 50,000 apart from 24B. So they feel motivated to take houses. That's why they take up. And obviously, they don't want anyone and everyone to purchase it. They want people who do not have house to purchase it. That's why they have kept a condition that no one should have a house, that you should not have any residential house. And they have not kept that anyone can go and purchase a house in crores and crores and get this reduction. This is basically for a house up to 50 lakhs and a loan amount up to 35 lakhs. लोन अमाउंट ज्यादा हुआ तो भी नहीं मिलेगा. ठीक है, ये अगर ये चार्ट सामने याद रखोगे, सारी कंडीशंस ऑल ऑफ देम टुगेदर इज कवर्ड. लेट आउट प्रॉपर्टी है तो यू कैन क्लेम ऑब्वियसली उसमें पूरा का पूरा, क्योंकि लेट आउट प्रॉपर्टी में तो कोई कंडीशन ही नहीं है. आपने घर खरीदा एंड उसे लेट आउट कर दिया. There is no condition of interest claiming. So I would say claim pura ka pura 3 lakhs under 24B. You will say, why, ma'am? Because guys, wahan pe even if you do not have sufficient income, that can be carry forwarded. But यहाँ पे the deduction cannot be carried forwarded. If you don't have sufficient income, that deduction is based. Correct? So I would always suggest it's better to claim entirely under 24B if you have the option. If you don't have the if it's like self-occupied property, then you can claim 2 lakh here and 50,000 here. अगर LOP है, मेरा suggestion ये होगा that claim entirely there of 3 lakhs. Why? Because I am telling you again, because out of 3 lakh, that loss, if there is not sufficient income, that can be carry forwarded. Plus, वहाँ पे कोई GT deductions are subject to gross total income, plus they are not allowed on special incomes. So it's better to claim under Section 24B the entire interest if you can claim. But if you're not able to claim the entire interest under 24B, then go for 80EE. But दोनों same amount को दोनों जगह claim नहीं कर. If I would have only interest of 1 lakh, then either I can claim under 24B 50/50 and 80EE. सपोज सेल्फ ऑक्यूपाइड है तो ऐसा 80EE में 50 एंड 24B में 50, और आई कैन क्लेम 24B में पूरा का पूरा 1 लाख एंड 80EE में नथिंग. इट इज टोटली ऑन मी, बट सेम अमाउंट को आई कैन नॉट क्लेम ट्वाइस. कॉम्पोनेंट की पार्ट को आई एम क्लेमिंग देयर एंड पार्ट आई एम क्लेमिंग हियर. ऐसे बार बार मत बोलना कि मैम सेम अमाउंट को आई यू आर क्लेमिंग. नो. Got it? अगर इसमें क्लैरिटी आएगी देन you have another section coming up which is almost similar. So I think not related to self-occupied property, it can be for a let-out property also. It is totally up to you. एक बस whenever you've taken the loan, that should be your first house, or I should say that you should not have any other house when you're taking the loan for eligibility of 80EE. Residential property लेना है, commercial नहीं. Rent paying is allowed for reduction entry. What do you mean by that? नो, उससे क्या लेना देना कि आपका एजुकेशन इज गेटिंग कंप्लीटेड और नॉट. एजुकेशन लोन है, यू आर पेइंग द इंटरेस्ट ऑन इट. फ्रॉम दैट पीरियड यू विल गेट द डिडक्शन. 80EE for maximum 8 assessment years. Sorry, 80EE for maximum of the loan period time you can claim. जब तक आप इंटरेस्ट दे रहे हो यू कैन क्लेम इट. तो हाउस रेंट पे कर रहे हो तो उससे क्या लेना देना. यू शुड नॉट ओन एन हाउस when you are getting a house which is eligible for 80EE. That's सिंपल सा बात है. इसको हम ऐसे करते हैं और तरीके से. ऐसे देखो, सिंपल. लेट आउट प्रॉपर्टी पहले सेल्फ ऑक्यूपाइड प्रॉपर्टी, ठीक है. The person obtained a loan, all conditions satisfied, and he self-occupied it. Correct? कोई और हाउस नहीं था, he self-occupied this property. The interest paid during the year is say 3 lakhs. Then SSE has an option to claim under section 24B. Maximum up to 2 lakhs मिलता है वहां पे, guys. Correct? And under section 80EE 50,000. I'm saying this again if all the conditions are fulfilled. Now, this is case 1. Second case is the interest paid is 1,50,000 only. So this is my personal suggestion that you claim entire amount in 24B. It's not that you have to do it like that. It is totally up to you that you can claim entire amount under section 24B. The reason is कि अगर income ज़्यादा नहीं भी हुई, if there is no sufficient income, this 1,50,000 would be carry forwarded. But if you will claim 50,000 here or 1 lakh there, 50,000 under 80EE and 1 lakh there, and suppose gross total income is not sufficient, that 50,000 would lapse. Okay? It is totally up to you. But optimal for me is 24B में, और ऐसे कर सकते हो अंडर सेक्शन 24B you claim 1 lakh and 80EE में you claim 50,000. Totally up to you. अब अगर लेट आउट प्रॉपर्टी है, अगेन टोटली अप टू यू कि 3 लाख 150 आपको कहाँ क्लेम करना है. बट इफ इट्स अ लेट आउट प्रॉपर्टी एंड लेट आउट प्रॉपर्टी में द बेनिफिट इज दैट यू कैन क्लेम वॉट एवर इंटरेस्ट यू वांट टू क्लेम. सो आई विल से इन बोथ द सिचुएशन इट इज बेटर to claim entire interest under section 24B. Why? Because उस केस में गाइस बेनिफिट क्या होगा कि यू कैन अगेन सेट इट ऑफ, कैरी इट फॉरवर्ड, so that would be beneficial. That would be beneficial. ठीक है, गॉट इट. कोई और डाउट गाइस? आगे बढ़े. But Nancy, why are you getting confused with a person? अगर मैं एक रेंट के मकान में रहती हूँ, आई एम लिविंग इन अर्बन एरिया, I don't have any house. I purchase a house in my native home place or hometown. I can claim deduction under 80EE if all the conditions are satisfied. There's no problem. Why are you confusing it with rent element? Why is even rent coming for an interest deduction? If I have a shop and get a loan on shop and purchase house, but also have another land, guys, I really don't understand that at this stage. Why do you confuse yourself with a question which comes like in real life and that too very rare? आपके पास shop है, you got a loan on shop. Why 80EE is coming? 80EE again and again is only for your residential house. You're purchasing the house. It is you on the date of sanctioning of house, sanctioning of loan. You don't have any other house. You will get the reduction about it. Nancy, why is there a confusion? I really want to know because I want to make it clear. Okay, rent is different, Baba. Interest is different. Someone which chart? प्रॉपर्टी 50 लाख से ज्यादा होगा तो नहीं मिलेगा डिडक्शन बाबा. नो डिडक्शन वुड बी अलाउड. प्रॉपर्टी इज मोर देन 50 lakhs. All these conditions in cumulative have to be taken up. सिंपल सी चीज है गाइस. Again, I'm saying 80EE is an additional interest of 50,000 which is allowed for a residential housing loan. Now the question is, so what are the conditions? Who can claim it? Individual can only claim it for a residential house property which he has taken through loan, obviously, and the loan is sanctioned between 1st April 16 to 2017 March, and the house property value is up to 50 lakhs. The loan amount is up to 35 lakhs, and there's no other residential house on the sanction loan, then only is able to claim 50,000 of this additional interest deduction. Why I'm saying again and again additional word? Because already home loan pay interest reduction is there under section 24B. Now the question comes, ma'am, how do we claim 24B and this particular interest simultaneously? First of all, the same amount can be either claimed here or there. But the component is of interest. and I have sufficient interest that I can claim in both sections, that is allowed. For example, I give you a case where the interest paid is 3 lakh during the year, then 24B में I can claim 2 lakh, obviously because self-occupied property है. जब तक 80D, 80EE you did not know, you only claimed 2 lakh. Now you know the provisions of 80E, then you can claim additional 50,000. Ma'am, अगर interest is only 1,50,000 paid during the year, then it's better for my side that you claim entire amount under 24B. If you don't want to, you can claim it 80EE में 50,000 and 24B में 1 lakh, total choice up to you. Ma'am, if it's a LOP, then again also totally a choice up to you how much you want to claim in 24B and how much you want to claim in 80EE, subject to the condition of 50,000. But same amount, यानी अगर सिर्फ 50,000 का इंटरेस्ट है तो ये नहीं है कि you are claiming in 24B also and 80EE also. उस component का अलग अलग अमाउंट यू कैन क्लेम इन बोथ द सेक्शंस. गॉट इट? और गाइस, आई एम रिपीटिंग अगेन एंड अगेन एंड आई से दिस टू फाइनल स्टूडेंट आल्सो, पहले बेसिक इंश्योर करो कि बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्लियर हुआ, देन मेक सिनेरियोज इन योर हैंड. नहीं मिलेगा स्वाति, आपके केस में नहीं मिलेगा. जनरल पर्पस से नैन्सी आपको रेंट का यू कैन क्लेम HRA इफ यू आर अ सैलरीड पर्सन. 80GG आएगा रेंट के डिडक्शन के लिए. इंटरेस्ट यू कैन क्लेम अंडर 80EE एंड 24B, टोटली फाइन. Veto, yes, in case of letter of property, you can claim full interest under section 24B. Okay, let's quickly take a break and then we'll get back to another section which is exactly similar and to an answer to your question that ma'am, why loan sanction period only came for 16-17 year? Why did not it got extended? So 80EEB and 80EEA is the answer to that question. Okay, so let's quickly take a break and come back in next 10 minutes. So, welcome back, guys. Let's see what are your doubts and regarding this particular section. Okay, let's start. डाउन पेमेंट तो गाइस वो तो परचेज कॉस्ट ही हो गई ना, उसका कोई डिडक्शन नहीं है। लोन में प्रिंसिपल पेमेंट का रीपेमेंट का डिडक्शन है। अब मैं अगर सीधा 50 lakhs का लोन विदाउट 50 lakhs का हाउस जैसे 30 lakhs खुद से दे रही हूँ, 20 lakhs पे ओनली आई एम टेकिंग द लोन, सो ओनली 20 lakhs पे इंटरेस्ट एलिमेंट के लिए देर आर ऑप्शन एंड 20 lakhs के लोन पे अदर चीजों के लिए देर आर ऑप्शन। ओके, सो नाउ to answer your question कि मैम दिस स्कीम was for a very limited period etc. सेम चीज गवर्नमेंट को भी सुनने में आया that this is wrong. The scheme is for a very less period. Many people wanted to take the benefit. They were not able to take the benefit etc. etc. So government said, okay, we hear you. So इसलिए another section they bring up because जिसका तो लिमिट था 16-17 के बीच में, you have to get the loan sanction only then you will get it. Government brought up with another scheme which is 80EE. उसमें भी सेम चीज, ऑलमोस्ट सेम एस्पेक्ट, बट द लोन सैंक्शनिंग पीरियड एंड द हाउस प्रॉपर्टी वाला पीरियड इज डिफरेंट. डिडक्शन इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ लोन बोरोड फॉर एक्विजिशन ऑफ रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी, सेम गोस लाइन यहाँ पे भी. इफ आई टॉक अबाउट 80 EB same है, deduction for interest payable on loan borrowed for acquisition of residential house property by individual. 80EE का भी heading सेम ही है, deduction for interest payable on loan borrowed for acquisition of residential house property. यहाँ पे भी guys everything is same, but some conditions have changed. Same यहाँ पे the benefit is that additional deduction is not of 50,000, additional deduction is of 1,50,000. 1,50,000. So the interest deduction here maximum is 1,50,000. किसको मिलेगा this deduction? Any individual, whether he's a person is a resident or non-resident, does not matter. What are the conditions, friends? Condition is again same. The stamp duty value. अब यहाँ पे clearly उन्होंने term define करा because they also learned from their mistakes. वहाँ पे stamp duty value term नहीं लिखा हुआ, वहां पे वैल्यू ऑफ हाउस लिखा हुआ है, करेक्ट. सो यहाँ पे क्लियरली इट्स रिटन स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू नॉट मोर देन 45 lakhs, नॉट मोर देन 45 lakhs. ठीक है, यहाँ पे द लोन शुड बी सैंक्शन बिटवीन द पीरियड ऑफ 1st April 2019 and they give a lot of time here till 31st March 2022. 1st April 19 से 31st March 22 तक, वो उसमें लोन सैंक्शनिंग पीरियड क्या था गाइस? 16-17. यहाँ पे जब गिवन 19, 20, 20, 21, 21, 22, so sufficient time for loan sanctioning. Again, same condition, no other house should be there on the loan sanction date, and loan should be from bank or financial institutions or housing finance company. LIC हाउसिंग फाइनेंस, इंडिया फुल हाउसिंग फाइनेंस कंपनी सबसे, ठीक है. एंड अगेन इंटरेस्ट अंडर नो अदर सेक्शन. सो यहाँ पे गाइस व्हाट इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम 80EE इज दैट फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यहाँ पे लोन का कोई लिमिट नहीं है. लोन कैन बी टू फुल एक्सटेंट, वहां पे द लोन कैन बी अप टू ओनली मैक्सिमम 35 लाख. सो दे इम्प्रूव नेचुरली दिस स्कीम. इंटरेस्ट डिडक्शन इज ह्यूज कंपेयर टू दैट. या वहां पे 50,000 था, यहाँ पे 1,50,000 तक का इंटरेस्ट डिडक्शन इज अलाउड. नो अदर हाउस एंड लोन फ्रॉम बैंक, फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन एंड हाउसिंग फाइनेंस कंपनी. सेम यहाँ पे भी सेम है गाइस. अगर आई हैव 3 लाख का लोन इंटरेस्ट, 3 लाख इंटरेस्ट ड्यूरिंग द ईयर, आई कैन क्लेम 24B में, आई कैन क्लेम अंडर 80EEA. But remember the period So how would you get to know which section has to apply? Naturally, the loan sanction date has to be seen, and then the loan house property value has to be seen, and then other conditions have to be seen. But naturally, first condition to trigger is this. लोन से पहले का है मैम 31 मार्च 2023 को लोन लिया नॉट एप्लीकेबल हाँ लोन गॉट सैंक्शन on say 29th March 2022 but it got disbursed on 2nd of April 2022 is it applicable yes because sanctioning word पे focus किया हुआ है guys disbursal is when that money is given to you sanctioning is that when the loan approval comes application is that when you apply the loan you applied for the loan between 1st April 19 to 31st March 2022, but it got sanctioned later, then also it is not applicable. And these conditions are as exact replica applied in ATEE also. ठीक है कोई कंफ्यूजन ATEE को हमने क्लियरली कर लिया था ATEE is almost same but with a better amounts. तो एक बहुत प्यारा सा चार्ट एंड आई एम वेरी आई शुड अप्रिशिएट ICAI at this point. They have maintained for you to get a very high clarity by covering up all sections of 24B, set off, carry forward, and everything. So they should be appreciated here a lot. So let's discuss that chart so that it is easier for you to understand. The chart is of two types. One is given before and one is given after. I'll just थोड़ा सा इसे छोटा कर लेते so that you guys can read it in one go. ठीक है हाँ So deduction aspect of interest payable in loan borrowed for acquisition of residential house property assuming the loan is taken between the sanction has happened between 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2022. ये वाला chart which is there is on your screen is for the people who are paying tax as per normal provisions not as per 115 BAC. दो कंडीशन हो सकती है द प्रॉपर्टी विच हैव टेकन ईदर यू सेल्फ ऑक्यूपाइड और द प्रॉपर्टी विच हैव टेकन यू लेट इट आउट करेक्ट सो इफ द प्रॉपर्टी विच हैव टेकन सेल्फ ऑक्यूपाइड तो the interest you can claim under 24B for maximum up to 2 lakhs and under ATAA for maximum up to 1,50,000. ठीक है so suppose the interest amount is 3 lakh so 2 lakh यहाँ 1 lakh यहाँ interest amount is 4 lakh 2 lakh यहाँ 1,50,000 यहाँ totally up to you interest amount is 1,50,000 totally up to you where do you want to claim it but again and again my suggestion is better to claim it under 24B because obviously at any given day 24B would be better you can claim it you can set it off you can carry it forward what better than that ठीक है अगर let out property है let out property पे there is no limit of interest deduction but you have to remember that set off that is inter-head adjustment was allowed only up to the maximum of 2 lakh amount was allowed only up to the maximum of 2 lakh amount remaining interest used to go carry forward ठीक है so that you have to remember and yes there is a loss of house property it is one thing again you can do is that if you have an interest of say 3 lakh then you can claim 2 lakh in deemed letter in the let out property see अगर income है तो जितना मर्जी claim करो if there is no income it's better to claim up to 2 lakhs and remaining you can claim under ATEE totally your choice no one is stopping you from claiming in which section you want to at the end of the day as chartered accountant it is our dharma to get the maximum tax saving so it is totally up to you how you get the maximum tax benefits but when a person is not claiming 115 BAC तो बहुत interesting है because interest on loan is not allowed for self-occupied property if you are claiming 115 BAC if you are claiming 115 BAC interest on self-occupied property is not allowed. Simple. And obviously deductions from ATC to ATU except for few are also not allowed. So if you are claiming 115 BAC, you have to remember that interest on loan on a self-occupied property is sort of waste because you cannot claim it. Then, but if you have a let out property, then obviously you cannot claim ATEE naturally, but definitely you can claim 24B may interest of that particular loan. But remember that Interhead adjustment is not allowed for interest on loan on let-out property under section 24B. You can only carry forward it. ठीक है, so ये chart बहुत ही appreciative है of all the conditions which can come in your mind. Please let me know if there's any confusion. And if both the sections 80EE, 80EE and 24B applicability is clear or not. एक बार देखो कहीं पे भी डाउट है गाइस, प्लीज आस्क. ठीक है, चले आगे. See guys, let out property है, ठीक है. They are saying a situation comes that you have an income of 5 lakh, but you have interest on loan of say 8 lakhs. अब इसमें क्या होगा? The loss would be 3 lakhs, correct? The loss would be 3 lakhs, but you can only adjust 2 lakhs from other heads. So they have said that if such a situation arises where the net loss is coming more than 2 lakhs, and since interhead adjustment restriction is that you cannot adjust more than 2 lakhs from any other head, so it's better that instead of claiming 8 lakhs, claim up to 7 lakhs only here and claim the remaining amount in your 80EE. So I'll repeat it again. If there is a loss from house property and it is more than 2 lakhs, which was this case, interest of 2 lakhs can be claimed as deduction under section 24B, and balance interest up to the 1 lakh 50 can be claimed under section 80EE. Quickly guys, now let's move on to our next section and a very important section, 80EEB, which is a section for again interest. See, 80E education loan interest, 80EE housing loan interest, but of 16-17 year. 80EEA again housing loan interest, but of 19 to 22 year. Now 80EEB is again one such initiative of the government to promote or to incentivize people to purchase electric vehicles. Electric vehicle, again the incentive is that they want the environment to be pollution free or pollution friendly. So they introduced this interest benefit for whom? For any person who get electric vehicle on loan. On loan. One time benefit है, मतलब first purchase पे मिलेगा. क्या क्या conditions हैं guys? Let's understand. Loan should be taken for purchase of electric vehicle. Necessarily, yes. The SSE should be individual. Loan should be taken from bank or specified NBFCs. Specified NBFCs or bank or financial institutions. Loan should be sanctioned between 1st April 19 to 31st March 2023. इसका sunset period is 31st March 2023. सिंपल। तो उसका इंटरेस्ट ऑन लोन टेकन फॉर व्हीकल का रिडक्शन यू विल गेट फॉर मैक्सिमम अप टू 1,50,000. Simple. The vehicle can be taken for personal or business purpose, does not matter. You take electric scooter, you take electric motor car, you take anything which you want to take, and you take a loan for it. Uska interest would be allowed as deduction under section 80EEB. And obviously, it's a beneficial thing now, because naturally, uh, you're getting another 1,50,000 as deduction. What better than this? We will say, कि मैम अगर वो बिजनेस व्हीकल है तो कोई 36 सेक्शन 36 सबसेक्शन 1 क्लॉज 3 में भी तो क्लेम कर सकता है इंटरेस्ट. बिकॉज आई रिमेम्बर मैम दैट सेक्शन 36 सबसेक्शन 1 भी गिव्स इंटरेस्ट का डिडक्शन टेकन फॉर द बिजनेस पर्पस. Yes, they can claim interest का deduction here, but again the question says that same interest cannot be taken twice. And again, if you have a business, it is always benefit to take under section 36 subsection 1 clause 3. Why? Because again, the losses can be carried forwarded. It will not get lapsed for an 8 assessment year. Whereas if you claim it under 80EEB and if you don't have sufficient income, the interest would be lapsed in that year itself. So totally you can have that relatability factor. Okay, correct. Okay, 36 subsection 1 maybe you can claim that interest, and a part of that you can claim under 80EEB also. I remember very clearly one of my colleague, he was so he so very wanted to take the vehicle before 31st March 2023 last year, because he wanted to claim 80EEB. And 1,50,000 guys is a very good deduction to claim on. You can save so much of tax on it. Got it? Without guys. अब ये सारे इंटरेस्ट का क्वेश्चन वी कैन डू ऑल टुगेदर फॉर illustration 13. It's a very beautiful question. Let's start. Focus, guys, please. This is a very, very, very important and a very nice question to cover. Okay. In this question, you are given an amount of loan from respective people, and interest has been given, date of disbursement has been given, uh, stamp duty value, etc., etc. All the things have been given basically to check all the conditions. Now let's start with Mr. A. Mr. A has taken loan from HFC. Date of sanction of loan is 21. Date of disbursement is May 21. Okay. The purpose is acquisition of residential house property for self-occupied purpose. And the stamp duty value of the property is 45 lakhs. Rate of interest is 9%. You have to assume in this question that none of them have exercised 115 BSc. All of them have opted out from the default tax regime. Okay? And there is no principal payment. So the loan properly is going and the interest is getting accumulated. Now let's start the deduction. First of all, we have to calculate the interest amount. Interest amount, stamp duty value is of the house property is 45 lakhs, correct? It is within my 80EEA का limit, correct? 80EEA के limit में है. Loan is 43 lakhs. 43 lakhs पे 9%, guys, would be, we are calculating for financial year 23-24, 3 lakh, कितना आएगा? 43 lakh पे 9%, 3,87,000. ठीक है, 3,87,000 में से what will this guy do? He will claim under section 24B 2 lakhs, and under section 80EEA 187. No, maximum कितना allowed है? 1,50,000. ठीक है, sorted. Next, for Mr. B. Mr. B again has taken loan of 45 lakhs. Stamp duty value of property is 48 lakhs. Loan is taken between 19 to 22. So guys, 48 lakhs जैसे property value हुआ, 80EE is not allowed because stamp duty value should be up to what amount? 45 lakhs. ठीक है? But definitely this person can claim section 24B में interest, which would be 45 lakh and 9% restricted to 2 lakh because the property is for self-occupied purpose. ठीक है? And next, and यहाँ पे loan is taken from NBFC. Housing finance companies allowed, non-banking finance companies are not allowed. This is very important point to remember. Housing finance, I told you bank, financial institutions or housing finance companies, not NBFCs. NBFCs is there for electric vehicle, but not for your 80EE or 80EE purpose. Next is your electric vehicle है for personal use. Interesting. कब लिया? Between 19 to 23 लिया, चलेगा. 20 lakhs का electric vehicle loan लिया. Cost of electric vehicle was 22 lakhs. So 20 lakhs पे 10%, 2 lakhs आया, but maximum interest which he can claim under 80EEB would be 150. Next for Mr. D, he has the loan sanction date is 30th March 2019, but the disbursement date is 1st of May 2019. Guys, remember the loan should be sanctioned between 1st of April 2019 to 31st March 23. So naturally is out of the scheme of 80EEB. Even if all conditions are satisfied, he will not get it. So remember, immediately coming to the interest se pehle, you have to see whether the conditions are getting satisfied or perfect. अब आई होप कोई डाउट ना हो. जनरली ऐसे क्वेश्चन आएंगे, सी कोई भी नहीं पूछेगा कि किस सेक्शन में मिलेगा. यू ओनली हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई विच सेक्शन इट इज अलाउड इन. एंड 80EE हैज मोर रेलेवेंसी देन 80EE. चलिए आगे गाइस. अगर कोई भी, if anyone is feeling down, please re-energize yourself, and I hope you had to eat something. So now, because it's a very, very important section coming up, brace yourself. Section 80G, very important. बहुत अच्छा important section है. Please everyone focus. चले? Perfect. So 80G is a deduction in respect of donation to certain funds charitable institution. Now, before I come to 80G, what all sections which we covered till now, let's quickly discuss this. 80C is for individuals, HUF, SSC, maximum 1,50,000. We have multiple options there which a person can claim a deduction from by investing in those options. Then we discussed about 80CCC, that is for LIC insurance pension schemes. Again, that is also 1,50,000 maximum. Only individual can claim. Then we talk about 80CCD, which is again for individual, but that is for contribution to NPS, which has deductions in 3 sections. 80CCD subsection 1. Again, 10% of salary or actual contribution, whichever is lower. 10% की जगह 14% हो जाएगा. The employee is government employee. 80CCD subsection 1, 80C and 80CC all together, triple C all together, maximum 1,50,000. ठीक है. Then 80CCD subsection 2, additional contribution deduction of 50,000, and 80CCD subsection 1B, additional deduction of 50,000. 80CCD subsection 2, deduction made for contribution by employer, same 10% or 14% of salary or actual contribution, whichever is lower. 80CCH, contribution to Agnipath scheme by Agniveer. Agniveer will get deduction under 80CCH subsection 1, and the matching contribution which the government makes will get an eligible deduction under 80CCH subsection 2. Then we did 80D, medical insurance, medical treatment, etc. वहाँ पे 25,000 is for self, spouse, individual, self, spouse, children, and 25,000 is for parents. If any of the category of a person has a senior citizen, it will increase by 25,000 for each category. Then we did 80U, which is person who's disabled himself, 75,000 or flat 1,25,000 as the case may be. Then we did 80DD, deduction for medical treatment, maintenance of a dependent person, allowed both to resident individuals and HUF. Again, maximum 75,000 or 1,50,000, but the person who's a dependent disabled should not be claiming 80U in his return. Then we did 80DDP, which is for medical treatment for specified disease for a dependent relative. Disabled or not, not necessary. Actual expenditure of 40,000 or 1 lakh as the case may be. Then we did 80E, education loan. The interest allowed for maximum up to 8 assessment year. Loan can be taken for self, spouse, or children, or for any person for whom the assessee is the legal guardian. Then we did 80EE, maximum interest of additional 50,000 is allowed with all the conditions, the loan sanctioning between 16 to 17. 80EA, interest on again housing loan, maximum of 1,50,000 with the loan being sanctioned between April 19 to March 2022. And there are certain conditions in relation to stamp duty value, etc., etc. 80EEB, which is again the last section of interest on electric vehicle, maximum of 1,50,000. The loan should be sanctioned between 1st April 19 to 31st March 2023. So this is all the sections which we have covered up till now, and this was a quick 4-5 minute summary. Up, which we are starting is abhi tak which you saw, and why did I say it again? 35 lakhs subsidy is not a condition for 80EEB. वहां पे बस condition ये है कि loan should be taken from bank, financial institutions or NBFCs, and maximum deduction would be 1,50,000. 35 lakh कहाँ से आ गए? So why I gave a summary up till now is that you will understand कि यहाँ अभी तक what sections which were covered had only individuals or HF in certain cases. No section covered deductions which is there for companies or firms or any other person as such. But 80G, guys, is one such section where the deduction now is eligible for any assessee. ध्यान से फोकस होके सुनेंगे, सिंपल सा सेक्शन बट वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट सेक्शन. ATG donation available to all assessees irrespective of individuals, HUF, companies, everyone. But यहाँ पे remember that the donation in cash can be maximum up to 2,000. तो नॉन कैश डोनेशन होना चाहिए या कैश डोनेशन ओनली अप टू 2,000. आपने कैश में किसी को 20,000 का डोनेशन किया, नॉट अलाउड. ओनली कैश डोनेशन अप टू 2,000. कितना डिडक्शन मिलेगा गाइस? यहाँ पे देयर आर 4 कैटेगरीज. Four categories are there. You have to see that where do your donee fall. Donee मतलब आप जिसको donate कर रहे हो, in which category that person is falling. So there are 4 categories: category 1, category 2, category 3, and category 4. Category 4 is very common, 1 is also very common. ठीक है. So in which category your donee is falling, जिसको आप donation कर रहे हो वो कौन सी category में fall करते हैं? If he's falling in the first category, मतलब if I make the donation to a certain person and that person or that fund is in first category, there's a list, okay? Then 100% deduction of donation would come. 100% deduction of donation. So suppose if I've given donation of 4 lakhs, 4 lakhs would be allowed as a deduction. If I've given donation of 5 lakh, 5 lakh would be allowed as a deduction. If I've given donation of 10,000, 10,000 would be allowed as deduction under ATG, provided the person to whom I'm making the donation comes under the first category. Second category has only one name now. If the donation is made to that particular fund, I will get 50% of the amount of donation as deduction. ठीक है. तो इसका क्या मतलब हुआ 50% ऑफ द अमाउंट ऑफ द डोनेशन एज डिडक्शन. मतलब suppose I made a contribution of or donation of 10,000, I'll get 5,000 as deduction. If I made a donation of 2 lakhs, I'll get 1 lakh as deduction. If I made a donation to a person who's falling under a category 2. The category 3 and category 4 guys are particular sections where they are subject to limit, subject to a limit which is a 10% limit of adjusted total income. मतलब यहाँ पे in this section I cannot claim in this particular category I cannot claim more than 10% of my adjusted total income. Adjusted total income, what is that? I'll come to it. But suppose my adjusted total income is coming to 5 lakhs. So 10% कितना हुआ 50,000. So 50,000 is available for third and fourth category. उसमें से 100% मिल जाएगा if subject to your 10% of ATI if the donation is. So suppose I gave an example that 10% is coming to 50,000. So suppose I made a donation of 30,000. So if this 30,000 is within this 10% of adjusted total income, I'll get full deduction. I'll get full deduction. And fourth category is that adjusted total income के 10% का subject to that and subject to the donation, whichever is lower would be उसका 50% deduction मिलेगा. मैम मतलब for example, my 10% of adjusted total income is coming to 50,000 and I have made a donation to a person falling in fourth category for 30,000. ठीक है. So इसमें से lower क्या है 30. So 30 का 50% deduction would be up. We'll do question by question and it will get more clear. First two categories are extremely simple. जो donation किया उतना deduction मिल जाएगा. No check has to be done. ठीक है. But third and fourth category में you have to make a check of adjusted total income. उसका 10% निकालोगे. अगर वो third category का donee है तो if the donation is within that 10%, 100% deduction would be allowed or up to 10% deduction would be allowed. Now coming to fourth category. Fourth category में क्या है 10% of adjusted total income will calculate. You will see the donation. Whichever is lower, उसका 50% donation would be allowed. Whichever is lower, उसका 50% donation would be allowed. Now, what all actually fall in first, second, third and fourth category? See, government आपको 100% deduction कब देगी? When government से related या national welfare से related आप funds में करोगे. So 100% category में there is an entire list of almost 24 types of funds in which if you'll make a contribution, you will get 100% deduction. But ये 24 funds को याद करने से better है second, third, fourth को याद कर लो. ठीक है. So बाकी naturally first category में you will remember, but remember all the prime minister related, all the जिस fund में prime minister आ गया या national importance आ गया या chief minister earthquake relief fund आ गया, वो सारे funds are available for 100% category. The most recent one and the most common and used one was PM Cares Fund, which was there a lot in use during the COVID time. So if you see the list, guys, सारे नेशनल डिफेंस फंड है, प्राइम मिनिस्टर रिलेटेड फंड है, नेशनल के लिए या चीफ मिनिस्टर अर्थक्वेक फंड है या कोई जिला परिषद का एक जिला साक्षी समिति का फंड है. अदरवाइज सारे ओवरऑल इंडिया के वेलफेयर के रिलेटेड फंड है. All of them are covered under या chief minister या national या prime minister. All of them are covered under my category of 100% deduction. Central government कोई भी fund is coming under my 100% deduction. So मैम 50% में क्या है? 50% में only prime minister drought relief fund है. So एक ही ऐसा prime minister वाला fund है which is drought relief, which is under 50% category. Otherwise all prime minister, all national importance, all state government importance, सारे funds कहाँ है? In 100% category. ठीक है. So if I make a donation, say suppose to नेशनल इलनेस असिस्टेंस फंड 100% डिडक्शन मिलेगा. जितना डोनेशन किया उतना का डिडक्शन मिलेगा. इफ आई मेक अ डोनेशन टू नेशनल फंड फॉर कंट्रोल ऑफ ड्रग अब्यूज, 100% deduction. If I make a donation of 4 lakhs to PM Cares Fund, 100% deduction. बहुत सारे फंड्स में डिडक्शन कंट्रीब्यूशन किया, सबका डिडक्शन मिलेगा, सबका डिडक्शन वुड बी अलाउड फॉर एवरी डोनेशन, द डिडक्शन वुड बी अलाउड प्रोवाइडेड इट इज इन दैट लिमिट. ठीक है. सो इन सबको याद करने से बेटर है यू कैन कीप इट एज अ ट्रिक कि ऑल प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स, चीफ मिनिस्टर, नेशनल इंपॉर्टेंस, एवरीथिंग goes under my 100% category except drought which comes under my 50% category. ठीक है. सिंपल. तो थर्ड एंड फोर्थ कैटेगरी को कैसे याद करोगे गाइस? फोर्थ कैटेगरी इसमें सारे चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट, ऑल गवर्नमेंट रिलेटेड अदर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस और अदर अथॉरिटीज, ऑल of them come under my fourth category. Temple, mosque, people go to Vaishno Devi, they give donation there to the Vaishno Devi Dham Trust. People go to any keto, ये impact guru, ये all these fundraisers, give India, cry India, children, ये जितने भी charitable organizations है, NGOs है, उनको if you're making contributions, all of them come under your fourth category. इसको क्योंकि ये all these people, all these donees get a registration under section 80G5 और under section 1023 वाले जो clauses हैं उसमें they get their registration done. So all of them are eligible donee, but the deduction is subject to 50% and again is subject to 10% of your gross total income. Next is, तो मैम 100% थर्ड कैटेगरी में कौन है? उसमें दो ही है, एक गवर्नमेंट रिलेटेड institution etc for family planning या in association of Indian Olympic Association और other institutions. ठीक है. बाकी सब फोर्थ एंड फर्स्ट कैटेगरी में यू कैन इजीली डिवाइड बिकॉज फर्स्ट कैटेगरी में सारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर रिलेटेड कॉमन वन है. अदर इफ दे आर नॉट falling under your third category then they will definitely fall in your fourth category. Ma'am, how do government know we have made a donation? You will get a receipt from them. You have to obtain the PAN of the donee. You have to maintain that receipt with you. You have to give the information of the donation made under ATG. वो automatically सब calculate करेगा. But how do we calculate is important. ठीक है. Question करें हम. अगर हमें कैटेगरीज याद हो गई तो हम क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं. कैटेगरी 1 में कौन है गाइस? ऑल ऑफ द प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स, नेशनल चीफ सिक्योरिटी, जिला चीफ मिनिस्टर, ये सब comes under your first category. Whatever donation is made, 100% deduction will come. Only prime minister drought relief comes under your second category, 50% deduction would come. Third category में family planning and national olympic, Indian Olympic का donation if हो रहा है तो 100% subject to ATI, which is 10% ATI. ठीक है. And last category में all the trust, temples, mosque, any other government का corporate ऐसे related जो other than family planning के लिए कोई local authorities है, कोई NGO है, everyone would come under your, कोई आश्रम है, any orphanage, but they are registered as under ATG subsection 5. And if I'm making a donation to them, because उनकी सबकी slips पे लिखा होता है this donation is eligible for deduction under section 80G, or we are a registered donee under section 80G subsection 5. So then you can get to know that this is a donation eligible for this particular category. Now, how do we calculate it? Simple सा है. Before going to the question which is given in book, let us do the question with an example. A person has salary income computed of 15 lakhs. ठीक है. He makes a donation to PM Cares Fund and PM Drought Relief Fund. PM Cares Fund में 1 lakh, Drought Relief Fund में भी 1 lakh. What is his deduction under section 80G? 80G में guys, you will say deduction for PM Cares Fund 100%, 1 lakh, and Drought Relief Fund 1 lakh, क्योंकि it is eligible for 50% only, तो 50,000. So total मैम डिडक्शन हो गया 1,50,000. करेक्ट, नो डाउट, नो प्रॉब्लम, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. अब coming to the calculation of third and fourth category, that Smita definitely I'll do it with example, don't worry about that. अब थर्ड एंड फोर्थ कैटेगरी करते हैं. थर्ड एंड फोर्थ कैटेगरी में हाउ विल वी डू? सिंपल. थर्ड एंड फोर्थ कैटेगरी में there is a limit. That limit is qualifying limit, which is 10% of GTI, but not general GTI. It is written as 10% of adjusted total income. Adjusted total income. Let's talk about first what is adjusted total income, guy. See, adjusted total income मतलब जो भी आपका gross income है, whatever is your gross income. Whatever is your gross total income, जो भी आपने निकाला उसमें से, so suppose my gross total income is 15 lakhs. ठीक है. Remove all special rate items. स्पेशल रेट आइटम्स यानी जो 111A में है, 112 में, 112A में कैपिटल गेन्स और एनी exempt income, remove everything. ठीक है. From your gross total income, remove all these items. Then remove deductions except ATG. मतलब any deduction which a person has taken under ATC, ATD, all deductions from ATC to ATU, remove all the deductions. ठीक है. That would be your adjusted total income. That would be your adjusted total income. So to continue an example, let's say a person has 15 lakh as salary income computed, 2 lakhs of capital gain. His total income comes to, gross total income comes to 17 lakh. Okay, gross total income comes to 17 lakhs. He has made deduction under ATC for 1,50,000, under section ATD for 50,000, and eligible amount है ये, and ATE में interest on loan है 1 lakh. Now what is his adjusted total income, guys, if I want to ask? 15 minus 2, which is 17 minus 2, which is gross total income, is his capital gain हटा दिया. 15 minus all deductions except ATG, so that would be 15 minus 3, that is 12 lakhs. So the adjusted total income here is 12 lakhs. Okay. Now the qualifying limit, guys, is 10% of adjusted total income, which is 1,20,000. Simple. Now, if a question comes to you, a person has made donation to PM Cares Fund of 1 lakh and a donation to a government organization for family planning of, say, 1,50,000. So what is the total donation under section 80G? What is the total donation under section 80G? The symbol, what you will do? 1,20,000. So 1 lakh would be completely allowed for the donation of PM Cares Fund, correct, in category 1. But for category 3, the qualifying limit is 120. And हमने कितना किया है? 150. So the third category says 100% reduction allowed subject to qualifying limit. So कितना reduction would only be allowed? 1,20,000. So the total reduction under section 80G would be 1 lakh plus 1,20,000. 2,20,000. Clear? Now, next example लेते हैं. Instead, इसको नोट करना है, you can note it. Got it, guys? अब next example लेते हैं that instead of donation to family planning, the person made a donation to temple. पूरे साल में डोनेशन उन्होंने किया टेम्पल में, मॉस्क में, हर जगह टोटल डोनेशन मिला के किया ऑफ 120, 150, सेम 150 अमाउंट लिया मैंने. अब अगेन 1 lakh पे तो देयर आर नो रिस्ट्रिक्शन, वी डोंट हैव टू वरी अबाउट दैट. नाउ 150 अगेन, it says whatever donation you make, 50% of that would be allowed subject to the qualifying limit. Now इन दोनों में lower कौन सा है guys? 120. So इसका 50% only would be allowed. So क्योंकि qualifying limit का 50% only would be allowed, which would be 60,000. So the total donation in this case which is allowed is 1 lakh plus 60,000, which is 160 under 80G. Got it? So can I say how do I have to make the deductions? First, obviously, I have to calculate the adjusted total income whenever a question comes for the third or the fourth category. And then after I calculate the third or the fourth category, after I calculate my adjusted total income, third category का 100% मिलेगा subject to the qualifying limit, and fourth category का first I'll see दोनों में से लोअर कौन सा है, उसके बाद 50% वुड बी एलिजिबल फॉर डोनेशन. मैम अगर दोनों आ गए क्वेश्चन में तो कैसे करेंगे? इंटरेस्टिंग, लेट्स सी हाउ दैट वुड बी डन इन दिस केस. थर्ड भी आ गया, फोर्थ भी आ गया, देन हाउ विल बी डू? ये वाला किस सबने नोट कर लिया? हर्षित, इज इट क्लियर? ओके. नाउ सपोज a question comes. Let this be there for 1 second. One second, guys. क्वेश्चन करते हैं. क्वेश्चन क्या, हम ऐसी कैटेगरीज ले लेते हैं, कैटेगरी 3 एंड कैटेगरी 4 एंड एडजस्टेड टोटल इनकम. ठीक है, एडजस्टेड टोटल इनकम लेट्स कीप इन ऑल द वन एज 1,20,000 ओनली. सब केस में मेरी एडजस्टेड टोटल इनकम 120 आ रही है अभी, टू अंडरस्टैंड इट. लेट्स एज्यूम कि एक सिनेरियो है वे कैटेगरी 3 में डोनेशन इज 150, कैटेगरी 4 में 50. ठीक है, वन सिनेरियो इज डोनेशन इज 1 lakh and 50. ठीक है, these can be the situation possibly. Now कैटेगरी adjusted total income कितना है? 1,20,000. The donation maximum donation for 3 and 4 combined would be 120, guys. अब इस केस में, फर्स्ट केस में गाइस, केस 1, केस 2 एंड केस 3, ध्यान से अगर ये समझ आ गया, यू विल गेट टू अंडरस्टैंड द एंटायर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ एटीजी 3 एंड 4. 3 का कितना डोनेशन मिलेगा? इट इज लाइक 120. 100% would be allowed subject to the qualifying limit. But qualifying limit is 120. तो कितना donation allowed हुआ under ATG? Only 120. अब qualifying limit exhaust हो गया तो फोर्थ कैटेगरी का कोई डोनेशन नहीं, कोई डिडक्शन नहीं मिलेगा. In the fourth category, no deduction would be allowed because qualifying limit is fully exhausted now. Next, qualifying limit और 100% donation. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट केस में 100% डिडक्शन सब्जेक्ट टू द क्वालिफाइंग लिमिट. तो यहाँ पे क्वालिफाइंग लिमिट है 120 का, तो 100% डिडक्शन मिल गया ऑफ 1 लाख रुपीज. कितना बचा गाइस? 20,000. 50% वुड बी अलाउड सब्जेक्ट टू क्वालिफाइंग लिमिट. 20,000 और 50,000 में से कौन सा लोअर है गाइस? 20,000. तो कितना मिलेगा गाइस? 50% ऑफ 20,000 विच इज 10,000. सो मैक्सिमम कितना अलाउ हुआ? 1 lakh for category 3 and 10,000 for category 4. ठीक है. Then next, 120 और 1 लाख में से ऑब्वियसली 1 लाख पूरा मिल जाएगा. एंड फिर कितना बचा? 20,000 और 10,000 विच इज लोअर 10,000. सो 10,000 का 50% 5,000 मिलेगा. सो टोटल 1,05,000 आ गए अंडर 80G. So this is the entire understanding of 80G. कोई डाउट है गाइस? एक बार चेक कर लो प्लीज. प्लीज लेट मी नो. स्वाति हैव सॉल्व्ड इट. एक बार प्लीज चेक करो, कहीं पे भी कोई डाउट है let me know. This is the easiest way I can make it possible, and such example is there, so please you can note it also. Smita, is it clear? Harshit, Santosh? अरे सीएम रिलीफ फंड में 100% जाएगा ना, जैसे प्राइम मिनिस्टर केयर फंड का एग्जांपल दिया. If your fund is not for, एक बारी लिस्ट अच्छे से पढ़ना. I'm not saying don't read the list at all. Read all the list of category 1, 2, 3, 4, but how to retain it is that trick which I have told you. If you can make a better trick which is more proofable, no problem. But read those funds at least. Read the names of those funds so that it can come into your subconscious mind. Guys, is it clear? Swati, Santosh, Harshit has given a green signal. Thank you. Smita. लिमिट है 1,20,000 से ऊपर. देखो डोनेशन कहीं पे भी नहीं आ रहा होगा फॉर कैटेगरी 3 एंड 4 कंबाइंड. बस फर्स्ट सिचुएशन में क्या हुआ कि फुली एग्जॉस्ट हो गया क्वालिफाइंग लिमिट. क्वालिफाइंग लिमिट क्या है? 10% ऑफ एडजस्टेड टोटल इनकम. सो इन द फर्स्ट केस adjusted total income is the qualifying limit is fully exhausted by third category. Nothing is left for fourth categories. In case 2 क्या हो रहा है कि qualifying limit, whatever qualifying limit is there, first उसमें से 100% can be claimed from your third category. If still any amount is left, that would be compared with fourth category. उसमें से whichever is lower, उसका 50% would be taken up as deduction. Similarly, third में भी I did that same scenario. एंड उससे पहले जो केस करे थे वो सोली ऑफ थर्ड कैटेगरी एंड सोली ऑफ फोर्थ कैटेगरी किया था. सो प्लीज प्लीज रिविजिट वहां पे. ओके Harshit, Vishali. So ATG is a no donation in kind is allowed. Only donation in money is allowed, and that too through check, ECS, debit card, credit cards, other than non-cash mode. Other than cash mode. Cash mode only up to 2000 would be allowed. So how do you compute the donation? First, you have to categorize your donees in 4 categories. उसके बाद the donation which is made to first category one would be allowed as 100%. Donation made to second category would be allowed as 50% of the donation. कोई qualifying limit, nothing has to be checked. No problem. Third and fourth में आके you have to calculate the qualifying limit first. Fit from the qualifying limit, if there is qualifying limit, third category ka 100% if it is coming in that, allowed fully. And 100 agar donation zyada hai from the qualifying limit, only qualifying limit would be allowed as the deduction. And fourth category mein, once third is cleared, covered up, uske baad whatever amount is there and the donation which is made, 50% of that would be allowed. सीधा पहले फोर्थ कैटेगरी कैलकुलेट नहीं करोगे. फर्स्ट यू हैव टू कैलकुलेट द थर्ड कैटेगरी, देन ओनली विल कम टू द फोर्थ कैटेगरी. कोई लिमिट नहीं है. क्लियर वैशाली, नैंशी? Perfect. Last segment, छोटे छोटे 3 sections है. Don't worry कि 3 sections will take 15 minutes. Just they will take 5 minutes, which is for donations. Quickly focus. बहुत small sections है guys. Okay. So ATGG, I'm not covering. It's an important one. We'll start with the next class. Donations are related only to 3 sections are there, which I want to cover. ATGGA, ATGGC, and GGC. अगर मैं तीनों एक पेज पे लिख रही हूँ, that means I can easily cover in 2 minutes. First of all, ATGGA is for again all assessees. It is available for all assessees. All three of these sections also relate to donation. The last two relate to donation to political parties or electoral trust. To political parties or electoral trust. But ATGGA relates to donation made to, remember, scientific research, और वहां पे रूरल डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट. इफ यू रिमेम्बर पीजीबीपी सेक्शन 35 में साइंटिफिक रिसर्च का डोनेशन मिलता था. 35 सीसीए में रूरल डेवलपमेंट फंड एंड प्रोजेक्ट का डोनेशन था. दैट. So who will claim ATGGA? All assessees can claim it, except who have PGBP income. Why except who have PGBP income, guys? Because अगर आपका profits and gains of business and profession है, तो scientific research में 35 CCA का deduction तो you will claim under the computation of PGBP, correct? So these are for those assessees who are making the contribution for scientific research of a rural development project, but obviously don't have PGBP income. So where they will claim? They will claim the donation under ATGGA. They will claim the donation under ATGGA. If you have PGBP income, you will claim the donation under those respective section. यहाँ पे भी all assessees कोई limit नहीं है, but remember more than 2K should be in non-cash. ठीक है? Simple, easy, खत्म. ATGGB to political parties and electoral trust, and ATGGC is also to political party and electoral trust. बस फर्क ये है, ATGGB is only for Indian companies. Indian company making contribution to donation to political party, ATGGB में. Other than Indian company making any contribution to political party, ATGGC में. So GGB can only be claimed by Indian company, and Indian company cannot claim GGC. Simple. But remember, there is no limit. But remember, the point is that it should be in any mode other than cash. यहाँ पे 2000 का भी वो नहीं है. No relief. Other than cash mode पे only you can make the donation. That's it. कोई और point नहीं है. Simple. So political parties को कोई भी donation जा रहा है, it would be either in GGB and GGC. GGB if you and assessee as a making a donation as an Indian company, or other than Indian company, GGC. No other points. In the next class, we start with ATGG, which is the last section in respect of certain payments, and then we'll proceed to ATJJA, QQRRB, etc., etc. And then we'll move to the 10AA and finish up our deduction wala chapter. If there is any doubt, please let me know. Please make sure that before you come to the class on Tuesday, you have done all illustrations up till illustration 16, except illustration 15, and all the test your knowledge related questions also. कोई और doubt है guys? Please feel free to ask. Others, if there is no doubt, we are wrapped up for today. उसमें भी हर्षद 37 का बेनिफिट है कि अगर वो बिजनेस रिलेटेड नहीं है और आप वो एडवर्टाइजमेंट और सोवेनियर है तो वो 37 में डिडक्शन नहीं मिलता. दैट यू कैन क्लेम हियर. तो गाइस इलेक्टोरल ट्रस्ट क्या होते हैं? बहुत सिंपल से आई क्विकली एक्सप्लेन. कंपनीज हैं, अगर उनको किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी को डोनेशन देना है, ठीक है, सो इंस्टेड ऑफ डायरेक्टली फेवरिंग टू अ सिंगल पॉलिटिकल पार्टी, दे फॉर्म अ ट्रस्ट. They form a trust which will and which is registered as electoral trust, which distribute funds to different parties. So instead of directly contributing to a party, they form a trust which will again further distribute funds to different parties or individuals. Okay, so again these are proper electoral trusts properly registered under a particular act of Companies Act. It's just that कि जो बिग शॉट्स होते हैं वो डायरेक्टली अपना मोटिव एक पर्टिकुलर पार्टी को देने से बेटर वो ट्रस्ट में कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं, देन दैट ट्रस्ट distributes the funds to other political parties as in how they want to. Okay, so this is what electoral trust mean. Any other doubt? Perfect, guys. Have a good time. Nancy, I think the GST से related कुछ भी concern है, you can ask ICAI directly. Please do make small summary notes. Class के बाद, please give time on understanding the chapter. 1 hour would help you retain all the concepts which you have studied today. Adjusted total income, Vishali, what is the doubt? Gross total income minus deductions minus special rate income of 112, 112A and 111. Okay, guys. Thank you so much and see you in the next class. All the best.